ever realize that the habits that helped you survive with ADHD are now the same habits quietly burning you out? Because if you're an ADHD woman, especially a high achieving one, chances are you built your entire life around compensating for time blindness, for running behind, for forgetting things, for feeling scattered, overwhelmed, or unmotivated. And somewhere along the line, these coping habits became your identity. They became how people knew you. They became your strengths until suddenly they weren't strengths anymore. They were stress responses. Today, we're exploring 3 ADHD coping habits I relied on for decades. Habits that helped me succeed, helped me avoid criticism, helped me stay afloat, but ultimately pushed me towards burnout again and again. And I want to walk you through not only what they were, but how they developed, what they cost me, and what I do differently now so you can too. This isn't an episode about blame. This is an episode about compassion, clarity, and reclaiming the energy you've been losing without even realizing it. Be sure to listen. Welcome to the Self-Loved ADHD Woman's Way podcast. I'm your host, Jen Barnes. If you're an ADHD woman entrepreneur, ADHD adjacent, or ADHD-ish, you've come to the right place. We'll dive deep into the unique challenges you face, from the inner turmoil to the outer obstacles. We'll blend neuroscience, IFS, and somatic healing and explore practical strategies to help you navigate the world of entrepreneurship with ADHD with greater ease and effectiveness. I'm glad you're here. Hey, it's Jen. I'm so glad you're here. So yeah, I've noticed some maladaptive ways I've been coping, and I guess they were adaptive for a while, but they're just not working for me anymore. And I'm noticing them in other ADHD women around me. So I wanted to share it so that we can go over it together. And if you're having these, figure out how to do something more effective. So let's start with the one that showed up first, which is saying yes to everything. I learned this pattern long before I had a name for ADHD. Growing up, I didn't understand why I struggled with certain things other kids didn't. I didn't know why my brain worked differently, or why I felt so sensitive, or why it was so hard to stay on top of things that seemed easy for everyone else. In fact, I don't even know that I noticed that it was easy for them. But what I did learn subconsciously was this: that if I said yes enough, if I helped enough, was the good girl helper, if I was useful enough, people would give me grace when my ADHD showed up, and they'd like me. So I became the helper, the reliable one, the I'll take care of it friend, the one who explained things, tutored classmates, stepped in, showed up, overfunctioned, and made herself indispensable. And you know what? It worked. People liked me, or I thought they did. Teachers praised me. Friends depended on me. But here's the truth I didn't see until much later. People didn't necessarily like me. They liked what I did for them. And the day that awareness landed, it felt like being punched in the gut, followed by that warm, dripping shawl of shame. You know the one I'm talking about. Over the years, saying yes took many forms. Whether it was volunteering to take notes in meetings, joining committees, picking up emotional labor, taking on extra responsibilities, helping beyond my capacity, overfunctioning in friendships and dating relationships, saying yes to plans I didn't want, doing extra paperwork for clients for free, things like that. And on the surface, it looked generous and admirable. But underneath, it was survival. A nervous system doing anything to avoid rejection, disappointment, or being seen as too much or not enough. And the cost to me was enormous. Resentment, burnout, feeling invisible, like no one really knew me or could hear me, exhaustion, losing touch with what I wanted, and never feeling like I could stop. I knew it wasn't sustainable because every time I burned out, and yes, every time, there's more than one, I ran headfirst into the same truth. You can't build self-worth on being useful. You can only build it on being you. The second coping habit was perfectionism, and it developed for the very same reason, self-protection. Perfectionism shielded me from criticism, judgment, other people's big feelings, my own shame, the fear of making a mistake and creating more work for my future self. That one is the one that still lingers. And perfectionism said, if you get it right the first time, no one will be upset. No one will see your struggles. No one will abandon you. Perfectionism made me the responsible one, the one who has her shit together, the one who doesn't make mistakes. But perfectionism also whispered, you're only safe when you're perfect. And I started recognizing the cost of that perfectionism in my late 20s during therapy. I understood the pattern intellectually, but I didn't believe it until my 30s. That's when I truly began realizing perfectionism wasn't protecting me, it was imprisoning me. And more recently, I noticed a new flavor of perfectionism showing up, trying to get things perfect enough now so that future me doesn't have to deal with the consequences or the mess or redoing things or fixing things. This wasn't about people pleasing anymore. This is about exhaustion avoidance. It was trying to outsmart my own ADHD. But here's the twist: in trying to avoid future work, I was creating more stress in the present, more pressure, more overwhelm, more time spent reworking, refining, re editing, rethinking. And perfectionism has a way of shrinking your life. It shrinks your creativity, it shrinks your presence, your joy, your risk taking, your capacity to rest, because perfectionism says you can rest when everything's perfect. But the truth is, everything will never be perfect. And sometimes things are going to need to be fixed. The third habit that took me the longest time to notice is hyper efficiency. Doing everything fast, optimizing everything, multitasking to save time, trying to work faster than my nervous system could possibly keep up. I spent years feeling like I was running behind because I often was. Time blindness made everything feel urgent. Social expectations made everything feel high stakes. Life made everything feel like a race. I was always about 15 minutes behind. And when I started my second business, my ADHD coaching business, hyper efficiency kicked into high gear. It became second nature, automatic, unconscious. But the cost? Yeah, the cost. Hyper efficiency took my presence, my enjoyment, my creativity, my nervous system, my ability to rest, and my safety. As an example, I slammed my thumb in a door over Labor Day weekend because I was rushing to get to the cabin. And right now, the nail is falling off little by little by little. So I was rushing so much that I was actually injuring myself. And this is just one example. I also tuned out people around me, even loved ones, because my brain was locked into go fast mode. At the cabin this summer, my sister looked at me and said, "Why are you rushing so much?" I hadn't even noticed. Hyper efficiency kept me in a state of constant examining what I was doing to make it faster and waste less time, in a state of constant urgency, fight or flight, obsessiveness, disconnection. And the biggest irony, rushing doesn't make things faster. It makes them sloppier, more dangerous, and more draining. Multitasking, like brushing my teeth while trying to get out my workout clothes, didn't save time. It fractured my attention, it dysregulated me, and it actually cost me time because then both those things took longer. Hyper efficiency feels productive, but really, it's just anxiety in motion. So these coping habits worked for decades. They helped me survive school, and not just survive, do really well in school. They helped me function as a woman with undiagnosed ADHD. They helped me navigate workplaces, relationships, expectations, responsibilities, and then they didn't. With perimenopause, my capacity changed. My ADHD diagnosis changed my awareness. Burnout changed my tolerance. Life itself changed me. There were times I woke up feeling desperate. I can't do this anymore, alongside the fear of disappointing people, being judged, or having to deal with other people's big feelings. I didn't always know what to do next. But what opened the door every single time was one simple truth. I didn't like the life I was living, and I knew something had to shift. So I want to be honest here. This is all a practice. Like unwinding this is a practice. I'm still unwinding these patterns. They show up in layers, they soften in layers. But here's what I do differently. I check my real capacity before I say yes, most of the time. I look at my calendar, I feel into my body, I consider my bandwidth, and most importantly, I give myself permission to say no without apologizing. And I'm going to teach you real quick. One sentence that is saving me is, I don't know, let me look at my calendar and what else is on my plate and I'll get back to you. Game changer. Secondly, I embrace good enough. 70% perfect is better than chasing 100% that doesn't exist. The 80/20 rule is real. If I wait for perfect or try and fit in that perfect box, nothing gets done, or I burn myself trying to do it. Number three, I catch myself rushing. I slow down. I take an intentional breath in and let it out. I remind myself that this will take the time it takes either way. And that one breath interrupts the entire survival response. Number four, I stopped multitasking as a coping strategy. So when I catch myself doing it, I remind myself one thing at a time, one moment at a time. Number five, I honor my real capacity. My best is not over functioning myself into exhaustion. My best honors my energy, my cycle, my nervous system, my ADHD brain, and my humanity, and my goodness, the need for fun. Number six, I practice radical acceptance and self love. Remember, radical acceptance doesn't mean we have to like every challenge ADHD brings. It's just that we don't punish ourselves for them anymore and just accept the reality that they're there, meeting ourselves where we are so that then we have the energy to do something different. And last but not least, I increased my meditation practice and yoga practice. These aren't self care tasks for me anymore. They are regulation anchors. They are how I return to myself. So, if you recognize yourself in any of these coping habits, perfectionism, hyper efficiency, saying yes to everything, I want you to hear this. These habits were never flaws. They were protection. They got you here. They helped you survive. They helped you succeed in a world that didn't understand your brain. And now you get to choose something gentler, something more sustainable, something more you. You are allowed to build a life you don't have to recover from. If this episode resonated with you and you're ready for a more supportive ADHD friendly way to get things done without burning yourself out, I created something just for you. The ADHD 5-step Taskmaster Plan. It's a free plan designed to help you stop overcommitting, stop rushing, stop perfectionizing, and start working with your brain as it actually is. You can grab it below. It's free and it's a beautiful next step in learning how to support your energy, your focus, and your nervous system in a sustainable way. You don't have to keep coping your way through life. You can begin living it on your terms. Thank you so much for being here. And if this was useful for you, I'd love it if you'd share this episode with another ADHD woman, like or comment if you're able to do that, or subscribe or follow if you're not doing that yet. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.